following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Look, you want the truth? Okay, then listen in. My first link.
This is the Listen In Podcast with your hosts, John Cimino and Brandon Gorell, here on the Gear Radio Network.
And we are live here on the Gear Radio Network with the Listen In Podcast. How's it going? My name is John Cimino at DJC Money on the Twitter, over here in Studio A, and in Studio B right now, Mr. Brandon Gorell. Brandon, say hello.
Oh, what's up?
Yes, we are here on the air on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever fine podcasts can be heard, which incidentally, I need to check and see if we're on Pandora yet. I submitted for that, and I also submitted for radio.com too, so I got to check those two things. But as always, you can support this and all podcasts on this network when you shop through one of our affiliate partners or donate via PayPal on GearNetwork.com. So either GearNetwork.com /donate or GearNetwork.com, and if you can click on the top bar where it says support the shows, any one of those links, that will help us out immensely. And if you do not want to do that, just listening to the podcast from start to finish, including the commercials and not skipping through them, really goes a long way to helping us out. It helps us out a whole hell of a lot better than Amazon, I'll tell you that much. But on today's show, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm mad about that.
Not even anymore. Not after I saw those numbers. So, but on today's show, week 3 is in the books. We will give our takeaways. Maybe, I don't know. I think I wrote that before I actually, wrote the actual show list here. But the 2019 Rookie Quarterback Watch, Gardner Minshew and Daniel Jones start now. What about Dwayne Haskins? We'll touch up a little bit about that. The best winless team in the NFL right now. There are several of them. Our weekly pick'em. How did we do? And who gets the ridicule this week? Pat G. And the top 5 power rankings returns. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But Brandon, how in the blue hell are you on NFL on 4K Eve right now as we're recording?
The boner is it's like Shawn Michaels used to do when he'd start tapping the ground with his foot before he gives sweet chin music. I am tapping on the 4K boner. It's getting ready.
Oh,
it's going to be fully ready.
I bet. I fully intend on going to Studio B to see this 4K NFL live and in person to see if it's worth spending the money to get a TV, 4K TV in like 7 years when I'm able to. But all right, very good. Well, Brandon, week 3 is gone, and the Bills are 3-0, my man, and they are hosting the 3-0 New England Patriots in week 4 in a battle of early season undefeateds. Now, according to ESPN Power Football Index matchup, the predictor that they have, they're not biased or anything, gives the New England Patriots a 75.3% chance of beating Buffalo this week. Tom Brady on the season, 7 of 7. I wrote that wrong, but 911 yards. Say what?
He's doing really well.
911 yards, 7 touchdowns. Josh Allen, 66 of 103, 750 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And it was very clear Josh Allen is improving, but he's still turning over the ball a lot, and the Bills are winning despite this. But again, the Bills have played the Jets, the Giants, and the Bengals. Could have easily been 1 and 2 at this point. They're 3-0 at this point.
Comeback though, man. And that defense. That defense is like one of the top defenses in the league.
So as we look into week 4 and this particular matchup, which is going to have a lot of eyes on it, and America probably rooting for the Bills more than they ever have right now, is this a trap game for New England, Brandon?
No,
you don't.
New
think
England's
going to
take care of business.
At all?
Nah, New England will take care of business. Their defense is playing outstanding. New England doesn't fall into trap games. New England doesn't look past opponents. Like New England focuses on 1 week at a time. They don't get geared up for certain matchups. They don't look at the calendar and say, "Oh, we got the Chiefs in 2 weeks" or something silly like that. They take it one game at a time, and they're going to take Buffalo. Buffalo's defense is good. It's not going to be easy for Tom Brady and his offense, especially being banged up. But it looks like Edelman might not play. So, with all of that, New England still has they haven't given up an offensive touchdown all season.
No, not all season. They have not given up an offensive touchdown.
It's ridiculous.
And in fact, New England
is actually this might be one of the best defenses that Belichick's ever had.
I would argue that it is, and this might be one of the better teams that Belichick has had, even though he's had an 18-0 team.
Yeah,
that
it's
lost
complete from top to bottom.
Right. So
there's not a lot of holes in that roster.
I don't think this is a trap game for New England, but God, would I love to see the Bills punch them
everyone
in the
would love to
right
see
now.
the Bills beat them. The Bills are going to have to stay away from turnovers, which they have not proven that they can.
They
yet.
have not. And that's kind of where I highlighted that point with Josh Allen. Is the Bills are kind of lucky that they played who they played to get to this point, because with any of the even the mediocre teams, let alone the upper echelon teams, if you're turning over the ball 4 times a game, you're losing a game. If you're turning over the ball 2 times a game, it's a good possibility you're losing the game.
I mean, the 49ers have done it too. I mean, the 49ers have been a turnover machine as well, actually more so. I mean, they had 5 turnovers this past week, and they still beat the Steelers. So
right, but it's the Steelers, and they're completely depleted. They're even more depleted than the Jets are right now.
Defenses will keep you in games, and I think Buffalo's defense is going to keep them in games, and I think that Buffalo is going to be more careful with the ball. I think Allen's going to try to take less chances because it is a bigger game. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be one of those classic, they come to Buffalo and just knock the shit out of Buffalo, leave, and continue on with their season. And Buffalo's
I would agree with you there as well.
I think it's going to be a good game just because Buffalo's defense is really playing well. And
so do you think the Bills are good enough on offense to score a touchdown?
Oh, they'll score a touchdown, I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the Jets scored a touchdown as well. But I'm talking about the offense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'll
Okay.
score a touchdown on offense.
All right, that's fair. I mean,
but Allen's going to move the ball. He's going to move the ball. They got a pretty good running game. Where they're going to be in trouble is the offensive line. And Allen's going to be under siege, and that's typically what happens to him, and that's why he has the turnovers, because he hangs on to try to get that play, to try to get somebody open, but he doesn't have that kind of time. He doesn't have that luxury, so he's got to learn to, make a quicker decision, to either get it out of bounds or take off, instead of holding on to it as long as he is, and making a risky play because he's under siege. So, it'll be interesting to see, but what are you gonna do? It's New England.
Indeed. It is what it is. I will tell you this.
If America was oh man, finally Tom Brady's 42 and they've gone to 3 Super Bowls, they're going to be off their game. They're not going to be as hungry. You are sorely disappointed right now.
Brady at 42, I would argue, is better than Brady at 22, and that's scary.
Yeah, and on top of that, this team is like I said, top to bottom, it doesn't really have a lot of holes in it. The offensive line's good, the defensive line's good, the linebacking core, the secondary, their special teams. I mean, there's just really not a lot to pick apart on this team, and it's scary to think of where they're going to go. And everyone's already on the Mahomes bandwagon, but Mahomes doesn't have the defense that Brady does right now. And Mahomes, if he just gets slowed down a little bit, is going to be in trouble against the New England team. We saw it last year.
We did, but that's where you and I are going to differ until it happens. Future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes,
like it did last year,
just like it did last year. But I don't care. It's a new year, Brandon. It's a new year, and my team doing the same shit. So
I don't think they look as explosive as they did. They're not as consistent. He has spurts. He'll have a great spurt, and then he'll just kind of go silent, and then the team just kind of goes stale. Their defense still gives up way too much. They can't stop the run. And, once they start facing elite passers, they're going to be in trouble.
Indeed.
That defense is in trouble.
All right. That's fair. Well, changing gears from that to moving on to the 2019 rookie quarterbacks. They're starting to make their presence felt, or at least a couple of them. The Jaguars are starting rookie Gardner Minshew in place of
the man.
The closest thing to Uncle Rico we're ever going to see in the National Football League in real life, and I am all in on him. But anyways, Gardner Minshew in place of an injured Nick Foles. Nick Foles, he is on the IR right now, and the earliest that he could return is week 11.
Yeah.
By then, if Minshew Mania is still, if Minshew Mania is running wild by then, doesn't matter if Nick Foles comes back in week 11 or week 21. Gardner Minshew is going to still be the starter in that.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. Next to Gardner Minshew, he's not Big Dick Nick anymore.
No, not at all. Gardner Minshew went to the biggest
dick in the room.
I have on good word. I have good sources, Brandon, that Gardner Minshew went to the Virgin Islands, and by the time he left, it was just the islands. Yeah,
I think I have a show picture for us. It's that picture I sent you of Gardner Minshew. It says throwing bombs and fucking moms.
You might have to resend that to me.
We'll resend it. It's so good.
All right, because between that and today there's been a lot of things you've sent me off air topics. Yeah. But anyway, so in addition to that, the Giants moved on from Eli Manning and started Daniel Jones, whom went on to save the franchise, Brandon, and have a day against Tampa Bay, going 23 of 36, 336 yards, 2 pass touchdowns, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, en route to winning the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Now, the Giants host the Redskins.
Airtight defense.
Right. The Giants host the Redskins, whom are 0-3, and the Redskins fans are already starting the rumblings for Dwayne Haskins, whom fell to Washington after the Giants drafted Daniel Jones. If you remember correctly, the consensus at the time of the draft was that Dwayne Haskins was a shoo-in to go to the Giants. He rooted for the Giants as a youngster and all that stuff, and then it didn't happen, and it was like, what? And then he got drafted by Washington, and he's like, hey, and there he is. So let me ask you, were the Giants right in beginning the Daniel Jones era right now, and should Washington start to give Haskins the reps, or it's to be the starter and just get him out there now, or wait until they're fully out of playoff contention?
It's hard to say because, they paid money to bring Case Keenum in to be their quarterback. They do not have a good roster. They look bad on both sides of the ball. And I just don't know. If it's right to bring a quarterback into there and it was a situation where he's going to fail. Like the New York Giants is a different story because the Giants, their fan base expects them to be terrible. They know they're going to be terrible, but they also know that they have some pieces that they can work with and maybe be a little less than terrible. They're not going to be able to play Tampa every week. Daniel Jones is going to have his struggles. He looked good last week, but Tampa is just not. They're still Tampa. And if it weren't for a kicker, we would just be like, well, Daniel Jones had a good game, but they still lost. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to say if the Redskins should do it, but given the track record that the Washington's had with quarterbacks, I think it would be smart just to sit him for the season.
I would agree there.
Unless there's an injury and you're kind of forced to, but it looks like Colt McCoy is coming back to practice this week.
Right.
So you've got that option too. But honestly, I mean, even if Keenan was playing lights out right now, it wouldn't matter because their defense is trash.
Right. Right. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned the kicker there with the Buccaneers.
I hate putting a quarterback into that situation and then being like, hey, save our franchise. Right.
Yes. And Matt
there.
Matt Johnson, when I was a guest on the 2 Point Conversation on his podcast yesterday, made a point where I feel like because of that very thing, or he felt like because of that very thing, that there's a just an absurd amount of quarterbacks that have come out of college that have been ruined by that, the systems in place that are like, oh, you're anointed, you need to save our franchise, and they just can't do it under that immense amount of pressure. So I think I agree with you there with that I think that Haskins should sit as long as he can, because for a long time Washington was where quarterbacks went to die. Look at Joe, Joe Theismann, Alex Smith.
Alex Smith's leg is dead.
Washington, it's just, I don't know if it's a curse. I don't know if it's whatever it is, but that's just what happens with the Washington Redskins. So saving
Unless
him
you
for
have,
as long as you
Doug
can.
Williams and Mark Rippon.
Well, yeah, true.
They go
But
out and win Super Bowls.
they do. But, that's them. There are some anomalies in the bunch. I mean, it is what it is. But, all right. So very good there. And yes, touching back to the kicker, being the difference.
I'm looking at your notes for this, by the way.
Hmm.
And it says the Giants host the Redskins 0-3, and the Redskins fans are starting to mooblings.
Oh, yeah, I was typing really fast. It was supposed to be starting the rumblings.
Yeah.
It was what it's supposed to be.
That's
Clearly.
like Joe Namath. It's starting the mumblings.
Oh, all right. Or Chris Jericho, a little bit of the bubbly. All right, Brandon. Moving on to the best winless teams that we have here. So, right now, of the remaining winless teams, Arizona, Washington, Denver, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, the Jets, and the Dolphins remain winless. Of these teams, which one is the most likely to bounce back to a respectable record, if any, and why? You don't think any of them?
No. They're all garbage cans. Arizona will probably get 6 wins this year because of Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
But they're a train wreck on defense. They can't stop anybody. And Murray's, he's playing decently, but he doesn't have much time either. He's got a really porous offensive line as well, and it's just not going well in Arizona. Washington, absolute shit show.
Mm-hmm.
They lost their starting running back, and they're going with 100-year-old switch swinger, Adrian Peterson, in there. The only thing good they got going for
I just
him
picked up on that switch
is Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis is like hurtling over people, and the one dude this week saw that, oh, you're going to hurtle over me? He just backed up and just waited for the hurdle to come and then just tackled him, straight up. He's like, I ain't getting on SportsCenter. Denver, Denver's defense is playing decent. Denver's offense is dog shit terrible. Yes, they should have had a win against Chicago. They got kind of hosed out of that one. But they're just not a very good team. Pittsburgh is a shit show. They've got no Roethlisberger. Mason Rudolph does not look like the answer. He came in nicely in relief when they're already trailing. He had like that Nathan Peterman syndrome where like the Bills were down by like 40 and then Peterman would come in and throw 3 touchdowns and everyone's like, oh my God, he's the answer. And then he gets the start and he throws 5 interceptions.
Right.
Rudolph was not much better. He was terrible against the 49ers. The 49ers did everything they could to give them that game and he still couldn't take it.
Okay.
Cincinnati's just not good. They're in a transition year. They've got a new coach, new staff for the first time in like forever. So Cincinnati's not really going anywhere. I don't see them being a decent team, and they're going to have to play against, their division, and the Ravens are going to put a smacking on them. The Browns will probably slap them around, and the Steelers are probably split. So you're already looking at 5 losses there on top of the 3 they already have. Miami, we already know. They are just garbage personified. When you've got, old timers and Hall of Famers coming in and saying, come on, guys, don't leave us. Just trust the process. I talked to Stephen Ross. They got a great plan. It's going to happen. And they're a dumpster fire. Josh Rosen is garbage. Fitzpatrick is garbage. Their line's garbage. Kenyon Drake can't get anything going because by the time he's handed the ball, there's 3 guys in the backfield. They've got no receiving core. They've got no defense. Their cheerleaders are a mess. It's just all terrible in Miami right now. They're all strung out on meth. So there's not a team on this list that's
going to
do anything.
To drop, you drop a cheerleader blast on.
I don't see Christ, one of these teams even sniffing 500.
The closest thing,
maybe the Jets. Maybe the Jets if Darnold isn't out too long. If Darnold can come back after the bye week, I can see the Jets picking up a few games because they're going to play some not so great teams.
I could see the Jets at either another 4-12 or 5-11 season at this point, if they're lucky. Of the teams
but
listed,
out of those teams listed, I think 5 is probably the most generous as far as wins is going to happen.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Cincinnati,
Arizona, maybe
Cincinnati's a little
6-10.
weird. The difference between Cincinnati being 0-3 and 2-1 is 2 points.
Yeah,
I mean,
but again, they lost.
Yeah, right. They lost, but they could have easily won those games had they not, gone Bengals.
I mean, had the other team played on roller skates, they'd be 3-0. So it's not it's.
If my aunt had
they lost the games.
If my aunt had junk, she'd be my uncle. If my aunt had junk, had junk, she'd be my uncle. So it's one of those things. But
they blew it late too. I mean, they were.
I didn't want to say the Jets
blew it in the last drive.
I didn't want to say the Jets because I didn't want to be a homer. But I would think that when you're down 8 starters,
right?
You're at your third string quarterback.
There's potential for growth there. You have an all-pro.
Not under Gase. I think I still will go ahead and say that I believe that the Adam Gase hire was a monumental mistake. And there is no convincing me any different. I was not a fan of that hire to begin with. And I'm not a fan of it now. And I will probably I will celebrate the day that Adam Gase is no longer the head coach of the New York Football Jets and no longer a head coach in the league for that matter. That man owes 77.9% of his paychecks, his weekly paychecks to Peyton Manning because it's the only way he got 2 head coaching jobs. But I'm breaking into Stephen A. Smith ism now when I'm talking about my damn New York Jets, and I don't want to talk about them right now.
Well, you know what? Honestly, I don't know, man. Like, I just, I don't know. He's going to be there for a couple of years at least. You can go 0-16 this year, and your Woodrow will give him another year.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Rex Ryan had forever, and he was just terrible too.
Yeah. Hey, well, Rex Ryan at least had the benefit of 2 straight AFC championship games. It was the 2 straight championship games that got him the 4 extra years too long. That he was there for. But
I was looking at the stats here, and Brady versus the Bills. His career, he's 30-3 versus the Bills.
Oof.
He's 15-2 at Orchard Park.
Oof.
He's second all time in wins at Orchard Park, and he has 38 touchdown passes on the road versus the Bills in his career. It's not looking good, Buffalo.
No.
It's not looking good. I mean, you did get 3.
You know what?
You did get 2 at home, so maybe this is the one. I saw something the other day, like they win every 8 years against the Patriots, so maybe this is the year that they do it. They did it in 2003. They did it in 2011, so 2019 must be their year.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to rock the Bills.
All I got for it.
All right, fair enough.
I got my Bills hat. I can be fully tuned into the Bills this weekend because Green Bay will be done on Thursday, so...
Yeah, well, the Jets are on a bye. Not that I would have been watching anyways, but all right. Well, I think at this point right now, I'm going to go ahead and click the wonderful old school NFL primetime music and go to quick hits in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Brandon, the aforementioned savior of the New York Football Giants, Daniel Jones, named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. We already talked about that, so we can actually skip that and go over to Devin Singletary of the Bills. He's still not practicing. The Bills running back remains sidelined with a hamstring injury. Singletary, the rookie, who played very well in limited action the first 2 games of the season, but missed week 3, is not practicing as of today. This as of recording Wednesday the 25th. Happy birthday, Sam Rizzo, by the way. The Bills would love to get Singletary back on the field this week against the Patriots, as he was a big play threat in his first 2 games with 10 carries for 127 yards and a whopping 12.7-yard average, but he may have to miss Sunday's game against the Patriots as well. And if he can't go this week, former Jags running back TJ Yeldon will take his place in the offense.
Frank Gore.
And Frank Gore, too.
Frank Gore had the game-winning touchdown.
All right. So imagine being so rich, Brandon, at quarterback.
Yes.
That you can bring your rookie quarterback that you drafted, whom many people were saying is the heir apparent to Tom Brady, to go out there, and on his first or second pass, he throws a pick 6 to Jamal Adams of the New York Jets, and then gets benched. And then imagine being so rich in culture that you could just say, hey, you know what, you're going to sit for a little longer. The Patriots, Brandon, they have that luxury, and they're adding another quarterback to the roster by signing Cody Kessler. Kessler spent the summer with the Eagles, but was cut when Philly opted to keep Josh McCown and Nate Sudfeld behind Carson Wentz. Kessler spent last season in Jacksonville, made 4 starts for the Jaguars, and also made 8 starts for the Browns as a rookie in 2006. Jarrett Stidham, I believe I said his name right. I'm not sure. He made the team.
I barely know him.
Hello. He completed 2 passes for 14 yards, but his third pass was intercepted and returned by a touchdown. The hoodie then said no mas and benched him and put Brady back into the game. Say what?
He went Nate Pete.
But you know what that reminds me of? Do you remember back in the 2007 season when they were on that undefeated run and the Patriots were up? It was like 40-something to nothing. I can't remember on who. They were just kicking the dog shit out of whoever they were playing. And they put Matt Castle in. And Castle comes in. He hands the ball off. First play, second play, he goes to throw, and it's a pick six. Hoodie pulls him and puts Brady back in the game. So, I don't know, man. They're a different breed. That team.
Yeah. Do your job. He didn't do his job, so he got benched.
Indeed. An addendum to what is on the notes here. Now, originally, I had put on there that Melvin Gordon could be reporting soon to the Chargers. Turns out, as of 3 hours prior to the podcast taking air, Melvin Gordon is, in fact, going to be ending his holdout. He will not be eligible to play in Week 4. He's going to be reporting to the team on Monday, and he will be able to return Week 5, and this allows him to be a free agent at the end of the year if they do not work out a deal before then or in the offseason. The Chargers could actually use him because they have not really had anything going their way. They sit at 1-2 right now, 2 games back from, of course, future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes and the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. Are you ready for Melvin Gordon time? Do you think that this could be a turnaround, I think, for the Los Angeles Chargers, who desperately could use it?
Yeah, I think it'll help. The Chargers, for some reason, and I can't figure it out, but every season they come in with high expectations. They start out completely fall over their dicks for the first 4 or 5 weeks. And then all of a sudden they rally, and then it's at the end of the season we're talking about the Chargers could be in the Super Bowl. It's like this every year, it seems like. And
it is.
They're 1-2 right now.
They are.
Yeah, they're 1-2 right now. They easily should be 3-0 right now.
They should be 3-0, and more than 10 fans should show up to that game and cheer that team on. You don't know. You don't have Phillip Rivers
for that team.
It really is. You don't have Phillip Rivers playing at this level for much longer. You just don't. He's not. He's not Tom Brady
level ever since. I don't understand. I mean, they're going to get healthy this week. They're playing the Dolphins,
right? Exactly.
And then they got the Broncos, Steelers, Titans, and then they run into a little trouble here with the Bears and Packers back to back. But then they got at the Raiders, home for the Chiefs, at the Broncos, at the Jaguars, Vikings, Raiders, Chiefs. So, I mean, I can see them being in contention for a wild card.
I can too, and you know what? Hopefully for Big Phil and the Chargers team, well, not necessarily the Spanos, but the players on the team. Hopefully for Big Phil, that can happen. But and finally, Brandon, for the quick hits, a feel-good story out of Philly. Now, Eagles fan Hakeem Laws went viral the other day because he was talking about. And you probably have seen this and laughed at it alongside everybody else in the world. There was a fire, there was a burning building, and there were people that were trapped in the building. And he was Hakeem Laws, a former military veteran and a former firefighter, helped save people trapped in a burning building around 2 a.m. on Monday morning. And when he was interviewed about his heroics, he made a joke that he caught people being thrown from the window, particularly babies, unlike Aguilar, meaning Nelson Aguilar.
Ouch.
Yeah, pretty sick burn, pretty hilarious. But NBC 10 in Philadelphia caught up with Laws on Tuesday to ask him what was going through his mind during the tense moment of his rescue and how the Eagles could have been on his mind after such a harrowing experience. And he said he was thinking, no fumble, as he attempted to catch a child and an adult woman being tossed in a window. Asked As for why he dissed Nelson Aguilar, Laws said he was still stewing from his team's gut-wrenching loss. And he said, quote, "It messed up my whole day. That was earlier, the same day that it happened, maybe 12 hours or so, less than that. Yeah, I'm going to think about that all day." Well, Nelson Aguilar, instead of being salty, ended up, took the good sportsman way out, and he invited Laws to attend an Eagles game with his family because of his heroics. So a good story there. Laws isn't backing down from his criticism. He told that NBC affiliate that he got it the first time, but he will take Aguilar up on the offer. A good story there, a funny story, but turned into a real good story. So, hey, what can you say? A hero's a hero.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, a hero's a hero, and a commercial break's a commercial break. So we're going to go ahead and pause for a little bit, and we're going to throw you right over to my main man, Robbie Vegas, who's going to talk to you about All Bets Are Off with Robbie Vegas on this very network. Listen in.
What's up, Rock Soldiers? This is Robbie Vegas coming at you from the All Bets Are Off podcast. If you are into horror movies, the paranormal, professional wrestling, or music, this is the place for you. We're bringing you the latest and greatest interviews in all of the above: music, horror, and of course, professional wrestling. So tune in on the Gear Network. Check out All Bets Are Off. Rate us, like us, subscribe to us, leave us your comments, tell us what you think. And we'll catch you soon on the All Bets Are Off podcast, dropping every Sunday at noon.
And we're back. John Cimino here, Brandon Guerrero there. And now we're bringing back one of Brandon's all-time favorite parts of the football season during our podcast, Brandon. The top 5 power rankings of the week. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready.
I can tell. All right.
Can't wait.
So they were in the same spot. We didn't do this in week 2, but these were actually, they didn't move. So they remained consistent from week 2 to week 3. Number 5, the Dallas Cowboys. Their schedule has been favorable to start, which makes this week's game with the Saints a bit of a proving ground. The Saints, without Drew Brees, they have Teddy Bridgewater, but still look pretty decent. But the Dallas Cowboys defense,
Teddy B's not a bad quarterback.
No, he
had a horrific injury.
Yes,
that he went through, and it's unfortunate that happened to him because he was probably going to be, their quarterback for years to come. But
yes,
Vikings gave up on him, and now he's getting a second chance to kind of show it because Breeze got hurt. If he shows out, he could end up being, somewhere else.
There's a reason that the Saints paid him to be the highest paying backup because, they want him there for when Drew Brees decides to retire. Whether or not that's at the end of this year is remains to be seen. But, Teddy B has got a good spot there with the Saints, and if I were them, I'd keep him on there. But anyways, the offense has been outstanding for the Dallas Cowboys, but in their defense, they have, in everybody's defense, Dallas Cowboys haven't really played anybody this year.
They have not played anybody.
Number 4, in the number 4 spot, another 3-0 team, the Los Angeles Rams, cruising along with a 3-0 record. And they have the look, according to CBS, of a potential Super Bowl team again. And their defense, Brandon, is even better than a year ago with the addition of Clay Matthews. And, of course, Aaron Donald is a beast. So I don't disagree with the number 4 spot there. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. Can anybody stop their offense?
Yes.
CBS doubts it. Future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes wasn't as sharp as usual last week, but still rolled up big numbers. He's on pace, Brandon. And, of course, it's a little too early to be talking about on pace, but what the hell? He's on pace to throw for over 6,000 yards. He keeps up at the pace that he is at now. So, but the defense, to your earlier point, does need to be better.
Yeah. I mean, they beat the Jaguars 40-26 after Nick Foles got hurt. They beat the Raiders 28-10. They really had one good quarter. It was the second quarter. They scored 28 points. Rest of the game, you had nothing. Ravens,
all they needed.
Tight game against the Raven. Gave up 28 points.
Well, the Ravens are a good team, though. So
Yeah, they're a good team, but when they play good defenses, I think they're gonna struggle.
Indeed.
Just a little bit if they can't stop anybody on offense. They've got some tough defense they got to face.
Indeed. Number 2, close to your heart, Brandon.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Football Packers at 3-0. They have to, according to CBS, they have to tighten up the run defense, but they are still much improved on that side of the ball, which is very, very, very clear. And the defense knows that they're good, and it knows that they're better than last year's defense. Looks like they're having a whole lot of fun. And I am in agreement with CBS, not CVS, CBS, that the offense isn't close to what it will be.
Right.
By a couple of weeks from now, towards playoff push, I think
I can tell you
the Packers are good. That Aaron Rodgers healthy. That offensive line keeps Aaron Rodgers healthy and keeps him upright. The bad man is going to be back in that. In
the line's
playoffs.
Playing great. They just are not. They're not in sync yet. They come out. They've got their scripted plays that they've practiced, that they've worked through. They're ready to go, and they set the world on fire. But then as soon as those scripted plays are over and it's time to start calling plays, they can't get a flow. They can't figure out what the hell they want to do. If they want to run, they want to pass. We have to balance, which guy we're going to use. They haven't gotten that cadence down. And to be honest, they've played and after week 5, they will have played the Bears, top defense from a year ago. The Vikings, the number 3 defense from a year ago. The Broncos, top 10 defense from a year ago. They're going to get the Eagles, a defense that can play ball and they can get takeaways. They've got speed. And then they got the Cowboys, who many people think that they have one of the best defenses in the league. So they got all those defenses, and even the Lions are an improved defense, so they're going to have to face the Lions next. So in the first 6, they're going to face some of the top defenses in the league. That's
the
a tough
undefeated Lions, Brandon.
Yeah, well, they've got a tie.
I know, but
they don't count.
I'm just loving the undefeated talk with the Lions.
Yeah,
right. With that.
It's being the tallest midget. It's really not that important.
All right,
but yeah, you look at their schedule. It doesn't calm down until they play the Raiders on defense, and then they have the Chiefs, who they're going to have to worry about on offense, and they're going to have their offensive game because. They're going to have to play shootout mode because, they're going to slow Mahomes down, hopefully, but Green Bay is going to still have to score. And they've got the Chargers, and they've got the Panthers, and then they got the 49ers, Giants, Redskins, Bears, Vikings, and Lions to close out the season. They've got a tough schedule.
They do, but they also have the bad man at the helm.
They have the bad man, and they have a defense for once.
And they have a defense for once, so they're going to be...
Darnell Savage, I like that guy a lot.
And finally, at number 1, Brandon, not a surprise, the New England Patriots. The beat goes on. They usually use the early part of the season to get better, but not this year. What is December going to be like? Probably going to be crazy for New England. They're just, I don't know, man. You can't crack the code.
Nope.
I guess you just gotta deal with and appreciate, And
that's the thing. When people say, "Oh, Tom Brady's a system quarterback," a system that has gone on for 20 years.
Yeah.
No NFL coach.
No
NFL franchise. Nobody's able to crack that code. Tom Brady has a lot to do with it. The player that Tom Brady is a big reason that goes.
The last time the Patriots did not make the playoffs was when Brady was hurt. And Castle was the quarterback, and they still won 10 games.
Yeah, they still won 10 games, and then that's where people point to, oh, it's the system. Mm-hmm. Oh, Garoppolo came in, and so did Brissett, and they still won games without Brady. And it's they won games, but they didn't get to the playoffs and win Super Bowls without Brady.
Indeed. Absolutely.
He is the engine that drives that team.
The biggest movers, according to this list, which, by the way, as I've mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, but I'm not sure, but I always use the CBS playlist, or excuse me,
yes.
The list for the power rankings. The New York Giants moved up 9 points from they were 31 last week. They're 22 this week. The Daniel Jones era got off to a big time start. He was outstanding against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Giants might have a big time steal according to CBS, and then down 11 from 18 to 29. Those Tennessee Titans. Oof. Marcus Mariota and the offense are struggling way too much right now. Is a quarterback change coming, Brandon? Do you think it'll be Tannehill time?
If you watch those games, Ryan Tannehill ain't going to do shit for it.
Nah.
They're atrocious everywhere.
That's not a good team. That's not a good team.
They've got Delaney Walker and they've got Derrick Henry. That's all they got.
And Derrick Henry's not doing what Derrick Henry did last year. So
no, because he can't. He's getting no running lanes.
No, not at all.
The offensive line is awful.
Not at all. So sorry, Tennessee fan, but yeah, you're gonna be down. You're gonna be up high in the picks.
8 sacks that game.
Yep,
that was ridiculous.
Yep,
like that just can't happen.
No, not at all.
It just cannot happen in the NFL. You cannot get your quarterback out there for 8 sacks in a game and expect to win a freaking football game. I mean, Jacksonville had not been setting the world on fire, but man, I mean, to come in there and to give up that many sacks, it was 9 sacks for 55 yards lost.
Yeah. And
then you add to it the penalties. Tennessee had 9 penalties for 101 yards. Those two in combination right there, just you're not going to win games. Indeed. I mean, they were 8 of 17 on third down. That's not terrible, but every time you go to you convert, you're getting sacked or you're getting penalized, and then you're into long distance situations, and you've got nowhere to go. It's terrible. Indeed. Terrible situation in Tennessee.
Terrible situation indeed. All right, we're going to move on to the final segment of our podcast here, which is it's just fast becoming my favorite segment of the podcast. The Weekly Pick'em, presented by Dollar Shave Club. Shaving and grooming made simple. Get there by going to GearNetwork.com and clicking on Dollar Shave Club.
Before we move on real quick.
No, go ahead.
Mariota this season is thrown for over 700 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. But
yeah, he's
getting crushed. He's getting crushed right now.
No, indeed. Yeah, it's not going to be Tannehill time anytime soon. At least I hope. I don't know.
He sucks.
With numbers like that, whatever. But anyways, Weekly Pick'em presented by Dollar Shave Club. Shaving and grooming made simple. Get there by going to GearNetwork.com and clicking on the Dollar Shave Club banner under the Support the Shows banner and try a risk-free starter set today for week 3. I was 12-4. Bills fan 177. I still have no idea who the hell that is. Maybe it's Brett Vincent. I'm not sure. But anyways, Bills fan went 11-5. You, Brandon, and Sleazy Mike from the wrestling show with Sleazy and the Fat Man went 10-6, which makes me the champion every week. And your buddy Zach Dean and Pat G from Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast
Zach.
put up the future 2019 Miami Dolphins record of 0-16.
That's fitting because Zach Dean's a Dolphins fan. So
that's indeed. I think it's in his handle. So as promised, I'm going to ridicule those that did not pick, and I'm choosing Pat G to ridicule. So Pat G, you dumbass. All right, I get it. You do the podcast. You do Turnbuckle Talk Radio. You do a great job with Turnbuckle Talk Radio. I highly enjoy the podcast. I've been on your podcast, but do the goddamn pick 'em. Don't cry. Don't
Everybody's
cry
quit already.
when we don't include you in these kinds of things. And then when we finally include you in these kinds of things, you don't do a goddamn thing with it. I'm going to send Ish Jones, your former podcast partner. I don't know why he's not on the podcast anymore. I'll have to ask Ish Jones that. But I'm going to send Cyclone Jones to hit you with the Cyclone Punch if you don't pick your goddamn picks this week, Pat G. That's your warning. Anyways, that's my ridicule. But do you want to ridicule Zach or no?
No.
Okay.
Zach's face ridicules him enough.
That's fair. He didn't need 30 seconds for that. All right, going into week 4, the totals for the season. Zach Dean, last place at 10. Pat G at 11. So, hey, Pat G, you at least got something there. Sleazy is at 18 points. Brandon and Bills fan are tied at 22 for second place. And I am at 23 points, which is good enough for first place as of right now. All right,
not bad for a guy who doesn't watch football and hates football and life sucks.
Fuck football right now. I didn't say life sucks. I said football sucks. Moving on to week 4 right now. Oh, by the way, new lady friend who I will not name right now for personal reasons. New lady friend used my pick'ems for last week in her football parlay.
Yeah,
and she wants some money.
Wow, who'd she pick against? A bunch of morons. You didn't do that great. You did all right, but
12 out of 16. I didn't think it was.
12 and 4.
Yeah, 12 and 4.
Yeah, I went 12 and 4 last week.
You did not go 12 and 4 last week. You went 10 and 6 last week. I went 12 and 4 last week. Bills fan went 11 and 5.
The week before.
Oh, the week before? No. I'm talking about.
I went the week before. I went 12 and 4. It's not that hard.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying, Brandon, is week 3. She took my picks and she won money.
That's what I'm saying. Who cares?
I care,
and
she cares because she won money. Let me have my moment. Better. God damn it, Brandon.
All
right. Week 4 here. We already know Thursday night in 4K. Both of us are picking the Packers, so we'll skip that. Titans Falcons. Who do you got?
It just went away. What the hell?
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Okay. Well, while you load that up, just based on the conversation that we had about the Titans, I picked the Falcons anyways. To your point from last week with Matt Ryan to Julio Jones still being Magic.
The Packers game here too.
We already picked the Packers. Yeah, both of us had the Packers.
Yeah.
Right. I should have asked you. I assumed you would have picked the Packers.
I like to
because you never pick against them.
Nope.
But Patriots Bills. I have the Patriots.
Yep. Same here.
Browns Ravens.
Ravens.
Chiefs Lions.
Chiefs.
Raiders Colts.
Colts.
Chargers Dolphins.
Chargers.
Giants Redskins.
Giants.
Panthers Texans.
Texans.
Bucks Rams.
Rams.
Seahawks Cardinals.
Seahawks.
Okay, Vikings Bears. This one's got to at least be a difference.
That's Bears.
Okay, I have the Vikings. Why do you have the Bears?
Right.
Defense?
They're at home and defense.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins shits his pants with a pass rush.
He does. He does shit his pants with a pass rush. But I think Kirk Cousins at his best is Aaron Rodgers at his week 1 worst. And if Dalvin Cook can, and if the offensive line can at least give Dalvin Cook a little something. What's that?
Not against that defense.
No, you don't think so?
No.
I'm going to take the Vikings at the very least to be different. Just because we've matched and everything right now. Jags Broncos.
Jags.
Cowboys Saints.
Saints.
I took the Saints as well. Bengals Steelers.
Bengals.
All right, so we're the only difference we have is the Vikings and the Bears. I have the Vikings. I will stick with that. You have the Bears, and
16-0. Here it comes.
16-0. All right, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. If Brandon doesn't get 16-0, you know what that means? That means I'll be the champion next week too. But all right, Brandon, that's going to conclude the podcast with this. I know it's late, and I appreciate you for hanging on for me while I took care of a little business before the podcast here. But
you can tell everyone.
What's that?
You could just tell everyone you had diarrhea. That's fine.
I had diarrhea. I had a bad case of diarrhea. Indeed. Well, thank you for hanging around for that. And thank you, listeners, for listening in to this and all the podcasts on the network. And again, GearNetwork.com. Not even going to redirect you to shopgear.com right now because that's still under construction. But GearNetwork.com, click the support the shows banner. There's a plethora of things and more to come. We've got we're under discussions with a couple of other affiliate partners, and also we just brought on Kohl's. By the way, we're going to be an affiliate of Kohl's as well. That's the department store Kohl's. And we'll have links and stuff up there on GearNetwork.com.
As our listener count is going to be like similar to Kohl's, we're going to say, well, we had 11 million listeners, but the actual amount of listeners is like 11.
Well, whatever. No, we hit more than 11. We hit more than 11 every week, but
you ever notice that though? No. You go in there and like you see a towel and it says regular price $200.
Oh yes! I bought a pair of jeans from Kohl's. I bought a pair of jeans from Kohl's like 3 months ago, and the regular price was like $72, and I paid $25.
Yeah, you go in there, and then they, if you buy like maybe 6 or 7 items there, and they tell you
save like $400.
It's like you saved a mortgage payment. Like, oh wow.
Yeah, imagine that. But anyways,
$80 for a towel. That's
just and I'll re-up the affiliation, by the way, with Fathead and I believe FanDuel. I'll have to double check that one too. But we're good, fam. We're good. But thanks for everybody for tuning in, supporting us. And again, if you don't want to do any of the affiliates, buy from any of the affiliates, it's fine. Start to finish, including the commercials that are sandwiched on the outside of the podcast, please. That helps us greatly. And we will be back, Brandon and I, next week in person this time. to go over week 4 and talk some more BS with you all. Brandon, you good with that, my man?
I am good with it.
All right, then with that, I say good day to you, sir.
Good day to you as well.
So long, everybody. Good night now. Flava Flav. See us out in 4K.
Yeah, boy!
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.